Good evening, everybody. How's it going tonight? We have had some technical difficulties, to say the least. So earlier I did a test feed and I got flagged for using a free-to-use program that says that you can use it to post to social media once you create a video, but some reason you can't go live with it, which I don't understand what the difference between posting it or going live with it is. So I've been dealing with some issues of being kicked down, and I guess I lost use of Facebook for a little while until we got things sorted out, but things are back, so we should be okay to go tonight. I still haven't recovered how to get my mic and camera turned back on the computer, because when I got locked out, it knocked it out. So I'm broadcasting from my phone tonight. So here we go. We're going to start the show. And we're going to start off by bringing in Ed Williams. How's it going, Ed?
What's up, Russ? How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
So we got Ed Williams from Ed's Artworx on. Now I'm going to bring in Wendy Steen Shaner. Hello, Wendy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Russell? Hi, Ed.
Hey, Wendy.
And we've also got Eve.
I couldn't stop smiling since Wendy popped up on camera because her smile is so infectious. But hi, everybody.
And we've also got Lewis. Torres.
Hey, folks.
What's going on?
Hi,
Hey, how are you doing?
And Michael Shoemaker.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing tonight? So, I don't know what's happened to CB. I'm going to send him a message here in a minute. I don't know if he got busy or what's going on, but going to be kind of a relaxed show tonight. We're going to talk about a few awesome Kickstarters we got from this awesome group here, and soon to be Kickstarters involving several people in the group tonight. And let me send a link to CB real quick. He said something about I'm missing the link, so I'm going to send him a new link too. Everything's going crazy tonight.
I keep thinking about Wendy and Jim's challenge to print out the little stuff drawing and then post it everywhere, because every time I go to the mall, there's this strip club I drive by, and I always joke with I have an ongoing joke with my family. I'm like, oh yeah, you could, I have my 4 o'clock shift here, so go ahead and drop me off. And I was like, what if I did walk in there, just told them seriously, straight up, stone face, hey, just take me here, please. But the dollhouse closed, so too bad, so sad. It sucks because a week ago, they had their sign up. They said they were open. You just have to bring masks in. And I'm like, okay, cool. The dollhouse strip club's open. Now it's closed. So I don't know what happened. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
CB Zane.
I feel honored. We're on a drive-by with Lewis. This is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. We'll see how it goes. I'm just sitting out in my car, sweating my butt off.
Bro, you don't know sweat until you work at the place that I work.
Where you work at? I thought you worked at Hot Topic.
Yeah, I might. I might. And yeah, you know that Jimmy John's sign, free smell? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's all I'll say.
Are you out there twirling the signs out on the side of the road? Little arrow.
Heck no, but I mean, I'd probably be making more money than that. They make $13 an hour just to stand out there and twirl the sign. Some of them, they just stand there, hide behind the sign, and have an umbrella hat, and they're still making the same money. But I made better money in other places, so.
How's everyone doing?
You're doing good. How are you, CB?
Doing all right. Congrats on everybody's Kickstarters.
How is your Kickstarter doing? You want to start us off?
What's that?
How's your Kickstarter doing? Where are you at? How many reviews?
It's doing well. Hoping for a big finish. It's gotten kind of quiet here in the middle down the stretch, so hoping people kind of tune in at the end and decide that and realize that they're missing out. So that's my hope. But I know it's a great product. I know people are going to be happy with Scorpiana 2. It's an awesome story. The color kicked it up a full level for this issue compared to the first one. I thought he did a great job with the first one. So I'm excited for people to get their hands on it, and I don't want people to miss out. So
that is the truth. The art and the colors.
Yeah, it looks so badass.
The art and the colors in particular on this issue are just like I thought the first issue was excellent, and this just stepped it up. And not only that, but we're crossing over with both Naughty Faeries Stripper Assassins, as well as, of course, Lili the Demoness. I mean, it's just like this perfect storm of awesome Kickstarters just joining together, joining forces for the greater good. And I just love it. It really is. It's solid. Like Undercover Brother said, it's solid.
I'm so excited. I have, in fact, because I'm cross promoting with Scorpiana and with Lili Demoness, and I have the metal cards.
Oh,
nice.
Cool.
Oh, they're so pretty.
Wow.
Gorgeous.
So if you haven't backed yet, you guys need to get in on these campaigns. They are awesome, and they're so much fun. Plus, you're gonna get like all this extra stuff just for supporting and getting the book you want by kind of exploring outside of what you normally do. By being able to check out a new series, you're gonna end up getting extra bonuses. So instead of the regular swag, you're gonna have something really special that nobody else is gonna have.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't even think I own a metal trading card. I mean,
Yeah.
what is up with that? I don't know how I missed out on that. But,
Well, you'll
I
get
don't even think I own a trading card.
Oh, okay. But until this Kickstarter stuff, I didn't even know they existed. Okay, I mean, just now I'm informed, and now I'm like, that's like beautiful, and I'm like, I gotta have one eventually. I don't care what it is. Bugs Bunny, I don't care. I gotta have a metal trading card. Doggone it.
Yeah,
you don't work with folks when you're biking around, but
No, well, that's true.
You're right.
Yeah, you were talking about the little cross promoting, like with the little cutouts that we came up with, the scavenger hunt. I'm so excited about this. Like we set up, Jim and I for Totally Rad Comics and Naughty Faeries came up with the Totally Naughty scavenger hunt, and we made sure we had rules and what to do just to make it more fun. I mean, everybody's kind of stuck at home, but you can still do drive-bys, hop out of the car, take a picture with your cutout, get some free stuff.
that's what Lewis is doing right now. Don't let him fool you.
Well, what happened was at when my paper set up our mock-up books, the interiors, like they were supposed to be blank, and on accident, like interiors ended up under. I got a cover here. Under my cover. So those are Jim's interiors on my cover.
Oh.
Oh.
These are like super cool and super rare. And then in the other book,
Super valuable.
part Naughty Fairy interiors and part Totally Rad Comics interiors. So I'm like,
Oh my
Cool.
god.
and I have
Those are so cool.
I have the gold and I have the orange series. So we have two. So people get really excited about these scavenger hunts for this Kickstarter because it's like we have 8 days. I think we put it for 7 days left, and I think people will have a lot of fun. It just, if nothing else, they're getting out. They're seeing some different things. How creative can we be? I think it'll be a hoot.
Yeah, Wendy, it's an amazing idea. I know I told you kind of off camera, but I'm so jealous you thought of it. I wish I had.
Next time, we got you next time.
Yeah, definitely. We got to hook.
I'm just excited to see who takes the picture inside the back of a cop car.
Right?
With their cutout.
That's what you and I are excited about. Yeah. And then we just got a message from somebody who's on and so he wanted to do something on one of his the 5-inch guns that's on the ship, and we're like, yeah, do it. We need to add like a creative bonus point thing for it. So we'll see. I can't wait to see all the pictures come in.
Very cool.
And Lewis, how are you really doing?
Well, last I checked, it was sitting at 15.5. So it's getting up there. I mean, still have 20 some odd days left. I mean, it's not as many as backers as there was for the 3rd issue, but this one's getting up there. I'm hoping to beat issue 3. Every issue it gets, more and more backers come on. I'm worried about the whole COVID thing going on and people being out of work, so not people, watching their pennies and stuff, but we'll see.
Not to mention there are just a crap load of comic book Kickstarters going on right now. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a very crowded field at the moment. So, at first I was a little disappointed that we were running about $1,000 behind where we were in the first campaign, 1 or 2. But then I was like, people have discovered Kickstarter and they're more than ever running these comic book Kickstarters now. So if you're doing all, I mean, seriously, if you are in the range of what Lily's doing, what I think we're doing right now, which I think is about 16.5 at the moment, we're keeping up. At least we're keeping up, and it's not uncommon for some of these comic book Kickstarters to kind of like fall back. The issue 1 is the magic thing. It's got a glow to it, and after that, if you can hang on to, your, most of your backers and hopefully grow it, that's what's a plus. So I'm pleased that we're at the very least, holding serve, I guess is the best way to put it. And I think that, I anticipate we're going to finish reasonably strong. I mean, if we can get right around where we were, in the ballpark of where we were with the first issue, I'll call it. I mean, I'm already calling it a win. It's just a matter of trying to run up the score now. That's kind of how I look at it. When it comes to making money, there's no such thing as sportsmanship.
that Scorpiana translate print, that thing's cool. That thing's pretty cool.
I'm glad you think so. I mean, I had this idea for a long time. I got on Facebook. There's this artist, Christopher Franchi is his name, and he specializes in pinball translite art, and he goes to the pinball trade shows and things like that. He's an amazing artist, and that is really kind of what got me to thinking about it, because he would sell translite versions of a lot of his artwork that you could then get a light box for and stick it in, and it'll light it up. And it's like what they do with movie posters and things like that.
Yeah.
And I just had this idea of taking a piece of artwork from one of the campaigns. In this case, it was the Garvey cover from the first issue. And I was talking with Corey for the longest time, CB, about taking that and turning it into kind of like a pinball graphic with the scores and so forth. And so we finally decided to give it a go on this campaign. It came out great, and it's just I know it's kind of an odd thing. I know not a lot of people even know what what a translite is, and CB helpfully put in that could look like this on the promo graphic, and so you would have this lightable piece of artwork on a hopefully less junky office than like what you're seeing here. But the bottom line is that it's really cool. And Lewis, I'm glad that you're making mention of it, because hopefully it'll get some traction, and this kind of thing will become more prevalent through other campaigns. And there's there's places that'll do the translate printing, and so for not a horrible amount of money. And so I hope other campaigns are going to adopt it. I just think it's gotta say that. Artwork is great. Artwork that lights up even better.
That is really cool. It took me a little while to figure out what it was. I had to ask CB, I'm like, can you explain this to me a little bit? I want to see a video. And he's like, no, we're not showing you a video, but I'll explain it to you and send you a picture. So now that I understand, like he just explained it in a way that I was like, oh, okay, I get it. You have, you need a box. You have to buy a box.
Right.
Put the print in with the light behind it so that the light shines through.
Right.
And once he explained it, I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's such a great idea.
What's up, Steph?
I think that once people kind of really grok the whole concept, they're going to say, oh, where was this before in my life? I have to have this. So, it will probably help maybe next time around if we're able to kind of point them to people who sell the kinds of, the lighted frames, LED lighted frames that they need for the, whole experience. But I just think it's, one of those cool ass things that whose time has come. It needs to leap from the pinball world and from the world of movie posters into comic books. It's time.
And what size are those? Are those big prints? Are they smaller prints?
Well, if we made them any bigger than what is it, CB 8 by 10?
We went 8 by 10, in part shipping purposes, and in part if you don't own a light box, as you get into the larger ones, they do get pretty pricey. So that keeps it as something that if you're like, wow, this is cool, it's still very much affordable. So it made sense to do it that way.
Right.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's definitely different.
Always have to work out your logistics while you're figuring out what you're going to offer for your campaigns, don't you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it can get pretty crazy. I mean, just weight alone on shipping things.
Oh, yeah.
And, I have to be careful because, like, with my challenge coins on the last campaign, they brought every single package up over a pound by the time it was done because so this time I'm like, okay, if I get a little bit smaller or the same size in a different metal, it will make it a little bit lighter so that I can ship it and at least get a first class shipping, because otherwise, I mean, post office and the shipping rates have jumped up. It was, I think, $6 something when I started with book 1, and by the time I'm at book 4, it's like $8 to ship a priority flat rate, and it just goes up from there. I mean,
Hey, Wendy, what kind of metal are those cards?
Oh, they're aluminum cards.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're just aluminum. And these are a little bit smaller than the traditional 2.5 by 3.5. These are more business card size.
Right.
So, because I wanted them to stand out and be a little bit different than what everybody else has. And so when you see these particular cards, you're like, oh, okay, these are from Naughty Faeries because that's the one she uses, because I'm the only one who uses this.
That's cool. Very cool.
So
the metal covers on the comics, and that's the first time for the cards. So.
Yeah, no, and like this is our first time doing jeweled covers, and they are so shiny and so beautiful. I gotta show you this. This one is Steph, and Shannon, who's Princess Jewel, she does all the jewelry for Lady Death. She said, "Oh, I'll do jeweling for you," and I was just like, "Oh my God!"
The girl in me is like, I see that.
There's
Can you guys hear me?
on
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
So there's a
We
lot
can-
on this one.
Something else. Something else.
Russell, where'd you go?
Huh? What?
So I don't know what's going on. My internet was acting goofy, so I reset my router, and I don't know what's going on. I had like 1,000 messages coming through my messenger, and it totally bogged my audio out of my phone. I couldn't understand anything any of you guys were saying. It was just like a garbled mess. And so I like had no choice but to leave. So I had to put my earbuds in so I can actually hear what you guys are saying. Cause I'm like, this is going to go terrible. All I hear is, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to talk.
Sounds about right, yeah.
I'm gonna be like, what?
Oh, it
We were
was,
actually ready to talk about
Sounds
King
about right.
Kong
Yes.
as per Tom Hutchinson's request.
right. I was actually.
King Kong.
Oh.
How do you see the comments on here?
So
There's
if you're
a
on your
private chat
phone, you
and then, like,
can't
some
unless you've got the comment tab down at the bottom. Where it says chat at the bottom of your phone, you hit the chat button and you can see the comments. But now that I've got everything loaded back up, I can start putting comments up. So anyway, hello everybody.
Godzilla.
Good evening
Yeah.
again. We've got a great crew here
I'm doing it for
and
two
Oh, cool.
reasons. Two, actually. First of all, we've got Tom.
Michael, do we lose audio on you, or am I the only one that can't hear you?
I'm sorry.
You're the only one, my friend.
You can hear me?
I guess I lost audio on everybody again.
Oh no.
The two reasons.
Free fighting.
Tom's in the chat, and
No.
he says, "Why isn't anyone talking about
You can't log
Godzilla?"
in from my account.
So this is our cue. And secondly, and this is important, this is a metallic ink print that I have had for ages, and I just wanted to mention to CB that one of the ideas that I've had that I've seen other comic campaigns do is the metallic ink covers. I know I brought up the possibility of lenticular covers, which I just think are awesome as well. I just got the Jaws 4K, super duper 45th anniversary edition, and it's got a lenticular cover, and I was like, oh my god, we've got to do that for a future campaign. But also a metallic ink cover like the big G poster here. I think this is Bob Eggleton artwork, if I'm not mistaken. But bottom line is that this style of cover with the reflectivity of metallic ink, that sort of thing, we got to look into that, I think, too. I mean, step up our game, make sure that we're setting the pace for other campaigns, so that they're like, we've got to see what Scorpiana is doing and what Mike's doing and what the Outpost 426 guys are doing, because they're coming up with all this cool shit. We got to match them. We got to keep up. That's just
So visually appealing. I just want to rub my face against it because of how glossy it was. Oh.
gorgeous.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wendy has a metal cover.
You guys gotta see this. So
Okay.
Sarah Nicole and Alfred Carrillo did a piece for me, but check out this foil.
Oh,
Nice.
oh, that is gorgeous.
I just like wanna.
It has, like,
So nice.
it has this really cool special effect to make it look like the blast. If I can get the lighting right, it makes it look like the blast is coming out from where they are.
Yeah, we can see it. That's cool.
Oh.
And
That
I've
is
been
cool.
waiting to show this one because I just got the last group of mock-ups, and this one I was so excited about. And this one from Ruben Rojas is it has like the 3D effect.
Yeah.
Right.
Here we go.
Where she just comes like right off of the page.
Nice.
So I've just been wanting to share those, and I haven't had a chance.
Excellent.
That's really cool, Wendy.
Are those all from the same printer?
Yeah, I'm using for the central holofoil stuff. Is all through Heroes and Villain Designs. They're out in Arizona. So when I make my trip out there, I go there, and I use Artist Express too with Anthony Delaney.
Okay.
Cool.
I have two, and then Steph Wilson did the new Naughty Fairy logo. So instead of my comic art groupie, which is old and outdated and no longer what I do, I've got this one.
Sweet.
I saw that.
She turned out so cute, and he designed the font for her and everything. So this will be on the books when they get printed. So I'm super excited to be sharing that. He did such a great job, and Carrie Ann just kills it on colors every time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's also a T-shirt, right?
It is. We turned it into a T-shirt. I was up really late playing with that design on all sorts of things. Russell, are you on?
Killed it. I know he's saying, I'm looking at you in the eyes.
Oh.
Lewis is down 10 pounds since we started, so that's
Yeah, I swear.
Since we started the live stream,
yeah.
Yeah.
is he sweating it out?
He's in an impromptu sauna, unfortunately.
Right, right.
Man, you're in Texas with a heat index of like 2 million right now.
Yeah, it's dry.
Yeah, but it's a dry heat. That's right. That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
Luckily, I can't see the comment.
Back into
Otherwise,
play.
my screen.
Oh, shoot.
Too
So
small.
we're pulling out weapons now. Hold on. Let me get my Keyblade. Where is it?
Uh-oh.
We're turning down script at this point.
I did have a samurai sword at some point.
Oh, okay.
So, Ed,
Everybody's bringing out weapons.
talk about the piece that you worked on for your project.
I can't even find it.
What was that, Wendy?
What was-
Oh, what?
Can you talk about a piece that you worked on for your current project?
Who?
Who? Who?
Who, what, when, where, why?
What was for Ed, but I think Ed froze. So, you want to take that question?
Wait, who's speaking now?
Maybe Ed can't hear us.
What's going on?
Oh, okay. So, Ed, do you want to talk about the piece that you worked on for the project?
Oh, for the Titans, for Team Titan. It was pretty awesome. I thought Russell contacted me about his character. He sent me a bunch of different parts from his book, you know, and he really gave me good detail on what he thought, you know, what his character should look like. And I just went from that and just from his words, you know, and started putting it down on paper, what I thought he would look like myself. And I don't know, it just, you know, from what he was telling me through his book, that's what I thought he would look like.
He turned out really cool.
Yeah, he turned out pretty well.
And then
Yeah, very good, Ed. You got some pretty cool pictures on your page.
Thank you.
I definitely like that balanced usage of complementary colors. Because oh, my color theory is coming out. I love it.
Oh, top color theory. I love that.
Well, you show
Aw.
Oh yeah,
Yoda.
that's a sketch card.
Nice
Really?
work.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was a fun piece.
I can tell at some point I'm going to have to watch The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian is awesome.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, it's really good.
I sort of enjoyed the first of the new trilogy movies. The second one I hated. The third movie was just kind of meh to me. But The Mandalorian appears to be getting praise across the spectrum. And so,
Yeah, they did well with the Mandalorian.
I've been binge watching the Clone Wars, so I haven't watched the Mandalorian yet. And nobody told me that the Clone Wars was that good. And I didn't know it aired for children on Cartoon Network. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching. I'm like, man, they really pushed the boundaries without even really going anywhere. It's kind of so crazy. It's so good. I need more Ahsoka.
Well, she'll be in Mandalorian for the second season.
Ah! I didn't know she was going to be in The Mandalorian. I thought they were going to put her in the movie. I didn't know.
No,
I'm excited. I feel like she should just have her own spin-off movie at this point.
Russell's still working things out.
Yeah.
So CB.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I every time I connect a mic to the phone, it cuts my mic or it cuts my sound. And on the phone, it after a while it starts garbling with people talking at the same time. And it won't stop garbling.
Just throw the whole phone away.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know you're doing your best.
dude, it's everything. Ever since this afternoon with the whole fiasco of getting flagged, everything here's gone to hell in a handbasket. We'll just put it like it is.
We'll just call it 2020.
Yeah,
I think that
2020
sums it up.
syndrome. That's for sure.
Eve, do you want to talk about the project you did for Lewis for his cover? Because that was beautiful. You did such a great job on that.
Thank you. I want to give more props to, I hope I don't butcher her name, Yelena Di Napoli. But her colors really just fleshed out the line work. I didn't know that my line work could look so fleshed out the way it did. So, I mean, her colors just made everything pop out. I was really stoked when Lewis first came to me about it and said, hey, I'm interested in having you do this, and pretty much if you were to think about her look, it's sort of like a Lady Death meets Demoness kind of look, and I said, you have me sold already. And I already have this idea that if you're giving me a character that has a particular power and has a mission and has a strong purpose and is trying to serve it, my job is to make sure that your character looks much more like I'll try to enhance your character the best way that I can with its characteristics. So Lili the Demoness is pretty powerful, and I just wanted to kind of show off how powerful she could look by having her surrounded by these emaciated corpses that are, kind of tormented and reaching out for her, and she looks so full and has a particular pose and is asserting a certain kind of dominance over the piece. So I was really happy. When I first started sketching out the piece, she was so central. It was going to be a full body, and I still ended up communicating it, but she was going to be surrounded by much more. And I said, no. That's only just going to drown her out. She needs to be front and center. So I said, hold on, I'm taking the wheel and I'm turning this around, and I'm glad that I did. And then with just a few little edits here and there, and then the colors, everything just came together, and I didn't think that it could look that way. It's so awesome, and I'm so happy with how it came out.
It turned out
Eve. It was really neat.
Thank
I watched you while you were drawing it live, and to see where it started and how it progressed, and then seeing the final piece, you rocked it, kid. That was awesome.
Thank you, CB. That means a lot for me. Thank you.
Lewis,
especially since you're the one rocking Lili ever since the start of it. I mean, thank you.
You did awesome. I was blown away when I saw that final piece, and then Lili is so talented as a colorist, and when she threw her colors on top, I even remember the first time she did one of my pieces, and I was like, wow, this is close. So kudos. You did, like I said, you did a really, really great job.
Thank you. Only have to just work hard and cry more from here on out.
No crying.
No crying in comics.
And never stop working. That's
It's
all.
just dry tears.
So maybe this is a good time for Lewis to talk about Lili then and the campaign and such.
It seems
You
to
said
stay
it-
naturally.
What was that?
I said maybe it's a good time for you to talk about Lili now in your campaign.
Well, I mean, where should I start? Oh, Lili the Demoness. Well, for those who are not familiar with Lili, if anybody's watching, Lili Ardat is one of the divine messengers cast out of heaven with the angel Lucifer. Now bear with me. I've been practicing this all day. Cast out of heaven with the angel Lucifer. After the Great War, over the unconditional love and preference God has for his most cherished creations, human beings. Now, Lili the Demoness, it's a 24-page modern-day hack and slash that follows Lili on her quest for forgiveness and prove her worthiness to God so that she may one day re-enter the kingdom of heaven. So, viewers, if you're into supernatural adventures like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, which is a couple of my favorite, Lili the Demoness might be up your alley, and she may just be the answers to your prayers. End of spiel.
Nice.
Yeah,
Classic tagline at the end. I
that was
love
good.
it.
If I wasn't backing, I would be backing, but I was 41.
Thanks, folks. Thanks.
So, Ed, do you want to talk about anything you're currently working on, or Eve?
Actually, I worked on one cover for Hooked on Comics. It was a store exclusive cover, Vampirella, Vengeance of Vampirella.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, it turned out really nice. The time period that I had to do it was cut short. I did it on a actual sketch cover, and then once I sent my photos to the guy with Dynamite Comics, he was surprised that it was on a sketch cover, and he was like, I need it on 11 by 17. So I had to take it in a day and a half and put it on 11 by 17. And doing it, traditional art, I'm not a fast, artist, so I couldn't complete it as well as I thought it should be, but I had to go ahead and get it done. So.
Well, wait,
That sounds
I really enjoy doing remarks on. I don't know if you know the Walking Dead 163 cover. It's the one with the zombie hands sticking up. I really enjoy doing remarks on those. I finished one up today with Venom on it.
ooh, that's awesome.
Sweet.
That's a really cool idea.
Is that what? Not really a sketch, like a remark, really?
Yeah, that's a remark.
It looks graphic.
The original only has the zombie hands on it, and I've done different ones with different characters, and
Wow.
It's just fun.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That is awesome.
That is great.
It's something different.
Do you have a
Sure is.
dream book or character you would like to do someday?
Oh yeah, I have my own character that I've come up with. I've written not a lot about him, but most of his backstory I've gotten through. But one day he'll come out and he'll hit the comic world. He's a police officer, so right now it's probably not a good time for him with everything going on. So it's kind of tough. It was not ready to come out anyway. So, but once he's done, he'll come out and everybody will see what he's all about.
Awesome.
Nice.
How about you, Eve? What have you been working on?
So currently I've been just trying to look at Russell's piece from different angles, because I said, hey, this would be I asked the question, I said, hey, is there anything in particular like life changing in the story for him? Does he conquer something? And he's like, oh, yeah, this, and that. And I said, okay, cool. I'm going to try it because I like taking on the challenge and I like feeling frustrated over something because the more you work on something and the more you look at a piece from different angles, especially something you're not used to, when you finally get that one thing, the final sketch, and it clicks with you, everything works and everything just feels good. So I'm not used to drawing like dragonoid creatures at all. You know, I'm used to adding wings to human figures, and that's it. So I said, oh man, I'll definitely take on the challenge. So I've been just taking this comic board and flipping it every way I could because I hate negative space and I want to make sure that the piece is balanced. So I have to think about everything my professors yelled at me for and try to execute it. And I'm like getting to that point and I'm just ready to think whether I want a painterly style or a graphic style. So that's where I'm at, but I'm getting to that point. Aside from Xenonanite Titan, I am working on a Bayonetta cover for Mojo Rising. No, sorry. I want to adopt Horizon, but it's Mojo Risen. So I'm working on something for Mojo Risen, and I have a few other things that are currently being talked out. But regarding covers and works, that would be it for now. And then also a few other things for Codex down the line, but we'll reveal more eventually later when I can. So that would be it on my plate. And then school and work, part-time work, yeah.
Oops.
Oh.
Lewis.
Scared him off, Steve.
Lewis,
I scared him.
I saw
He's scared because he thinks I'm gonna ruin his book like I did Russell's.
I
Gonna
doubt
sabotage.
Well, I hope he didn't pass out in his car from heat exhaustion or something. I mean, or his phone.
Oh my gosh. That would suck.
Yeah.
And then aside from everything, I have a really fast track mind, so it's kind of hard to get ideas down. But I'm pretty sure you guys would understand it when I say it. Don't you ever have these images, like these sequences or panels flash in your head like multiple times at different points in a period of time, and you're like, that needs to be written down. But my mind just keeps wanting to go fast, and I can never get the whole idea down. But I've had these ideas for characters where the story would be kind of controversial-ish, so like a sort of Ennis, Chaykin kind of story, because I don't get to see enough of those. And I think now more than ever would be the best time to see a controversial story and really stir people up, because I love doing that. Especially when Chaykin wrote that one series, Divided States of Hysteria.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really cool because a lot of people took it for face value. And granted, it's a lot of shock value, but there's so much more to kind of dissect the real meaning from. And I said, man, that's cool. I want a story where people can be mad at me for face value and then have really cool connections with people who actually eat the whole piece and not just the crust, you know? Like,
Oh yeah.
eat the actual pot pie. Don't just eat the phyllo stuff, like crusting on top.
Yeah, I like that. It's funny, Steph beat me to the point, but does that mean someday you're going to be creating your own comics?
I'd love to. Yeah, I just want to practice my sequentials and paneling. I've been looking at a lot of Steve Dillon work because the comics that you see nowadays in Marvel and in the big two, it's a lot. I feel like the images are really reliant on dynamic effects like speed lines and action parts. And what Steve Dillon did that is so different from that is that his style was so minimalist, and it was reliant on the interaction between the characters, and that was it, and their expressions. And I thought that was so cool and so deep. And he had subtle hints of things, like in Preacher, when Jesse and Tulip were laying in bed, both of them had cigarettes. Jesse was lighting his, and Tulip was just smoking. It was kind of out. It kind of represented the spark between them. And I thought it's right there, but you'd have to kind of dig into it a little bit. And then the eye contact between the characters and the way the panels flow, it's never the same on every page. I love that.
It sounds like you have a really good grasp on things when it comes to that. My simple rule was always, and this is what was always told to me by publishers, is can they flip through your book and know the story without reading the word? And that's how I always approach my sequentials. Kind of like you were saying, when I'm laying out my stories, it's always, I see the film in my head, and I just have to grab the snapshot that I want. And then comes the little extras that you throw in, like you were talking about, the symbolism of the spark in that scene. That's when, once you grab that piece of action that you want to use, then you can start throwing in those little nuances. So I think that's really cool, and it sounds exciting. I can't wait to see what you do, as you progress.
Yeah, I'm currently going to school to get a degree in animation because I love the idea of visual storytelling, and films like the ones from Studio Ghibli. There's so much symbolism that in each scene that you can dissect that really add to the story and add foreshadowing to it. And I just feel like people have this sort of surface idea that visual storytelling is graphic, dynamic lines and these wacky speech bubbles, when really it can be as simple as something like eye contact between characters, their expressions, that's it. No background, no nothing. A lot of people think that you have to, oh my God, build the cityscape right behind them because it's so important while they're talking, even though their conversation is the most important thing, and that's what drives the story.
Yeah. Very cool. Love it. So I don't know if Russell's going to make his way back in again or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, Wendy, do you want to plug anything more?
I mean, I think you and I have just the final week of our campaign. I think Jim Noble's only got his final week, and then Lewis has got 20 days left, I think.
Something like that.
So, it's just, if you haven't backed any of these campaigns, you got to get on these. These are awesome.
With a face hugger, no less.
Oh. Yeah. I thought that was the octopus hanging out that he ate in Skull Island, but
yeah, well, this actually came with the only good. It was like in Walmart, they put out a line of aliens toys, and one of them was the Scorpion alien, and it came complete with this little face hugger guy here. And I didn't have anywhere to put him, and it just fit so perfectly. I was like, what if a face hugger this big got onto Kong? I mean, what would be born from that? Because, they're supposed to take on the genetic characteristics of whatever they latch onto. And my God, could you imagine an alien that was born of the DNA of Kong?
That would be crazy.
That would be one frightening, bloody xenomorph. That's all I got to say. It'd be 50 feet tall and just be climbing buildings, and oh my God. Mayhem, pandemonium, dogs and cats living together.
Yeah. Poor Lewis is trying to get back in. There he is.
Hey.
Oh, finally. Lewis is back.
I'm going to jump on Wendy's coattails here, talking about the end of our campaigns. Scorpiana has, I think it's officially, 5 days left now, Mike? So, still, I think, we have a really solid cover lineup for people. I think we have some great goodies still to give away. We have an awesome digital wallpaper that's available. That's our next stretch goal. And there's still a couple other stretch goals that I hope we can hit, because I think they're cool. And, if people haven't gotten it, I think you should check out Scorpiana, and you should check out Lili, and you should check out Naughty Faeries, and Totally Rad. And, there's just some really cool stuff going on right now.
And that reminds me, you coming after, hot on the heels of Scorpiana, there's a certain character appearing in Scorpiana that's going to be bounding into her own comic. And not only that, but it's a joint venture with Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why don't we hear some about that? Because it's pre-promo time, pre-press time, baby.
All right. And then I'll let Wendy bring it home. So we'll keep it quick. But so the character that Mike is alluding to is the Mighty Might. She makes her appearance in Scorpiana 2, complete with their pink space buns. And she will be part of a joint venture between myself and Wendy and Tom Hutchinson, as we run our online Kickstarter ClickCon, which will be part of Spin-Off Comics, which will feature Might, who will be my character and my contribution to the story, and Wendy's character. Sunday night I haven't finished. I got to get this tilted just right. And I'll let her talk about her, and Catnip, which is Tom's little add-on, I guess.
I got a feeling that I know the subject of the next CB Zane show on Artist Alley Shopping Network. It's going to be adding glorious colors to Wendy's character, if I'm not mistaken. You did that with the mermaid, and it was brilliant. And so now that thing is going to get finished, and somebody's going to be like, "I've got to have that."
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
So with that, Wendy, do you want to bring home ClickCon and Spin-Off Comics?
ClickCon is going to be an amazing online Comic-Con. It's a virtual Comic-Con through the platform of a Kickstarter. So we're looking at having a basic A cover and then B covers that you can purchase from each one of us. Now, the basic book is 64 pages, and you get all 3 stories in one book. So it's super exciting because you're going to get Catnip's story, Sireness's story, and Mighty Might's story all in one book. So you don't have to go and try to find all the different books, but different covers will be available by different artists who we are not reviewing at this time.
Right.
I have a question.
Chat, do not try to coerce me and give away secrets because it's not happening. I'm not looking.
Right.
I have an inquiry.
Yes.
Is this going to be a flip book, or is it just going to be start off with one story, then we go right into the next with it all the same?
We have different chapters. So each story is going to have its own chapter in the book. So they're not crossing over and entering each other's universe. It's a complete story of Mighty Might. It's a complete story of Catnip and a complete story of Sireness.
But the reason I even asked about the flip book idea is because usually that's reserved for books that only have 2 stories, but yours has 3 stories.
Right.
So a flip book would be almost like 4D. It wouldn't work. It would have to be some kind of strange triptych, and I don't know how that would work.
Yeah.
So,
No.
Well, I mean, we talk about it as, like your tradition. It's not really an anthology per se, because most anthologies deal with a single subject matter, like a horror anthology. So every story is a horror story. But in this book, you're going to get 3 completely different worlds, 3 completely different characters. I do have an inkling, and I haven't been privy to reading Wendy's story or Tom's story, but I have an inkling that we have a common thread that runs through our stories to some degree. A message, perhaps. I don't know if I can elaborate any more than that, but that'll be the one thing that maybe perhaps links them. But other than that, very, very different. And I think it's cool because it'll be something for everyone. contained in this book.
Yeah, because my character, Sireness, has been in book 3 of Naughty Fairies, and now in the current one that's on Kickstarter, book 4, she's in there too. And she's been the villain. So we're going to look at where she comes from and where she starts and how maybe she makes that transformation. So that's where my story is. And then Tom with Catnip, she's a spin-off of the Critterverse. So even if you don't know anything about any of these stories, if you don't know Scorpiana yet, or you don't know Critter, or you don't know Naughty Fairy, you can come into our spin-off books and it's going to be fine. You're not going to have prior knowledge or backgrounds or anything like that. So we wanted to make this particular project something that anybody can come into and enjoy, and you get all 3 stories and are exposed to new and wonderful art. So here's Mighty Might with her face guns, which I just absolutely love. They make me so happy. So we all are so excited for Scorpiana 2. So we're really excited to see what happens with BookCon, because I did the online Comic-Con in January before COVID happened, and it was a huge success for me and for Naughty Fairies, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So we're taking what I did in January and just totally amping it up all the way around and doing the things that I wanted to do for my Naughty Fairy Comic-Con, but didn't have the technology because of COVID. Now the technology is there and we're all using it. This StreamYard was not something that was readily available or even really known about until COVID happened and everything got shut down. So now that we are going to be implementing different things into to our ClickCon, and I'm just excited. And that'll launch September 12th. So we have some time. We're super excited. And we hope you guys all join in the fun. It's going to be great.
Yep. Hey Wendy, if you get a chance, go to my Instagram and check out my Batman Who Laughs. It's an interactive cover. I did a cover paying homage to The Killing Joke, and
cool.
You can change out the photo. We'll check
that out for sure.
Yeah, check it out, because he's holding a Polaroid, taking a picture of his victim, but you can change out the photo.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yes.
I love that. Yeah, I'll totally check that out. I won't do it right now because I have to put my phone down because I'll get distracted. It's like, squirrel, where?
Yeah.
I go off on tangents. So I don't want to get you distracted yet. So Russell,
do you want to say anything about your project?
Like some odd Florida man outside the window. I don't know. We're just wild.
Russell, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, do you want to talk about your project some?
Sure. I missed the whole show pretty much. And it's been quite the disaster. I don't think it could get any worse.
That's all good.
Yeah, you can blame us. We took the show over. It's our fault.
We hijacked.
Hey, well, at least people had something to watch, I guess. So, no, yeah, I mean, just to talk a little bit about my project, I've gotten pretty far along the last couple of weeks. I'm a little over halfway through the book. I've got probably about 170 pages done. This is kind of like my final draft. I still got to go through and do like spell checks and proof it, because it turned spell check off because of the creation of the new elements and new character names and stuff. It was constantly changing everything and using names throughout. It gets to be really hard to pay attention to, did it change it or did it not change it? So I just turned spell check off and I decided I'll go back through and proof it afterwards. And then, whatever I miss after that, the editor can catch it, hopefully. And so, I mean, it's coming along pretty good. The art's looking great. I've got 7 pieces out of the 10 done. I mean, it's been a fun process. What this event, the IndeEvent's been about, is keeping it indie. People ask, why are you self-publishing? Why are you kickstarting your book? Why don't you want to look for a publisher? And it's like, because this is my character and my idea, and I want to do it how I want to do it. I don't want somebody looking through my book and saying, well, this is really good, but people would like this better. And it's like, you know, I want to grow my own writing style, and through indie publishing and publishing my own novel as this origin story for my character, I kind of get total control over it. And not only that, but I get people who can give me constructive criticism. So constructive criticism is something that's really big that I need. You know, I'm not a big all-star author, writer. You know, I have a great story that I want to tell and that I want people to read. And part of publishing it myself is I can do it my way, my style, and I have fans and people that will support me by giving me the constructive criticism to help grow me as an author, so that by book 3, you know, I'm where I want to be, and I'm where everybody, you know, wants me to be. And I think that, you know, publishing books through a publisher I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's just not my idea of how I want to do things. I want complete control. I want to be able to go where I want with the character. And if, you know, by book 2, you know, where we're at with it, somebody says, hey, this will make an awesome script for a comic book, you know, why not, you know, make the last book, instead of doing that, let's turn it into a comic book series. I want to have the open option to say, hey, you know, let's do this. And so that's kind of part of why I'm wanting to kickstart this book and self-publish it, is just so I can retain those, you know, creative ideas and be able to take this project wherever I want to go with it. And, you know, I think we have a great team of artists. We've got a great team of people right now that are supporting me. Wendy's read part of the book. Ed's got part of the book. I don't know if you've read it or not.
I read part of
her
it.
part of the book where she's done the art for it. Tom Andrus has read part of it. Steph's read it. Carrie's read it. Not all of it, of course. It's just the first 3 chapters, just enough to tease you, to make you go, why did you stop there? Right, Wendy?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the rest. So, like, any day now, you can ship that over so I can check it out.
And so Russ, in other words, you didn't want an editor telling you to rewrite it 4 or 5 times their way before either passing on the property or, after signing the property, then saying, oh, by the way, here's your upfront fee, but if you don't sell through, then we're not picking you up anymore. And by the way, this contract also includes all pertinent media rights. So you're basically selling the comic and the movie and every other right you can think of for the property. You actually want control over the book, and you actually want the ability to market it your way and make money off of it your way. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Are you saying that the mainstream publishing industry has basically been a racket that has exploited mid-list authors and underpaid them and then kicked them to the curb once they were of no further use to them, and that this e-publishing revolution is actually just the greatest thing for writers and creative types in general since the invention of the wheel? Is that what you're saying? Because that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I said some bitterness.
I'm just telling it like it. I'm just telling it like it is.
Wendy,
Mike said a mouthful.
There's a lot of artists and, you know, I don't want to say artists, creators, authors, writers who have sold and signed contracts for books that the publisher sat on for a year and then never published it.
Right.
So if you sign a contract with them that they have rights to the book and they don't do anything with it for a year until the contract's up on it, that's a year that they didn't make money or get their book in the hands of the people that wanted to read it. And then they got to shop around and find another publisher that might do the same thing to them. I mean, it's all things that are very real issues that happen in the community. And I'm at the point that I'm going to write the book. I'm going to send it to an editor and say, hey, check this for, spell check it, continuity, such and such, and then I'm going to launch the Kickstarter once I get it back, and it's going straight to printing. I don't have to worry about, you know, saying, hey, I got this awesome book. I can't wait for you guys to read it. And 6 months down the road, everybody forgets about it because the publisher's sitting on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also publishers are gatekeepers. Let's just call them what they are. And if they get your manuscript and they say, oh, well, this is unusual, this doesn't fit conveniently into this genre or that genre, so we're not going to publish your book at all. We don't even, we're not even going to send it through our proofreading department or what have you. It's an industry that's fading. Okay, I mean, granted, there are still plenty of actual published books that make it into bookstores, and I applaud the people that go through that process. If they want the veneer of being a traditionally published writer, then so be it. But there's a group on Facebook that is phenomenal. It's called 20 Books to 50K, and it's the numbers are the actual 202 TO 50K. And it basically is a treasure trove of information on how to basically choose your markets and market your books and, succeed as an independently published author. And I highly recommend looking that book up if you haven't already, because you will get all kinds of great advice. People talk about the way they targeted their Amazon ads, their Facebook ads, how much they spent during this period, and what kind of return they got. They just lay it all out. I mean, there are no secrets there, and it's wonderful. So I'm just, Robert says, like the record, that's exactly right. And you want to talk about another scam industry, I'm just going to say, how many groups have signed on with a record label, and sure, they got like a $100,000 advance, but then it turns around and you have to use that money yourself. Yes. Yes, indeed. You have to use that money to market your own records and promote your own records and on tour, and you frequently wind up owing more money to the record company that signed you. It's a scam. Okay, let's call it what it is. It's right. It's another big industry that's taking advantage of talent, and it just pisses me off. So I'm telling you, they all have their rackets. The publishing industry, the recording industry, all these people, they have their rackets, and working us over. Now we have the ability to break out and say, "Screw you! We're going to do it our way," and it's working. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, the fact that all of us here are part of that sector. And we're succeeding in that sector. Just shows you this is the way to go. This is the future, as the Mandalorian would say. Even though I haven't seen the show, I do know that he said, "This is the way." Yes, this is the way. I'm telling you. Yeah. All right, rant over.
I think you did a great job explaining that.
Well,
Good job, Mike.
I think about things like this sometimes. I just do. It's just like, don't try it. People are getting screwed, all right? Gotta be a way around it. I remember going to Dragon. I went to many successive Dragon Cons, and back in 1999, I think it was, there was this panel with some editors from traditional publishing houses, and they were lamenting the fact that books were getting more expensive, and that they had these logistical hurdles to overcome. And I remember asking them, and there was another guy who actually was an interesting cat. His name was, I think, Clifford Stoll is what I'm going to say. He was this quirky guy who worked in like an astronomy lab, and he noticed their computers were people were hacking into their computers. Turned out it was Russians, and he tried to go to the FBI and say, the Russians were trying to hack into my computers, and they were like, yeah, sure, kid, whatever. And it turned out to be, and he wrote a book about it. But even he was like, why aren't you e-publishing? Why aren't you looking harder at electronic publishing as an alternative? And, oh, man, you could just tell right away. They were totally threatened by that idea. They just, because they didn't have much control over it. They were not tech people, so they didn't quite understand it. And, in all the sense of the world, and that they'd had any sense, they would have jumped in with both feet, but they have fought it and fought it and fought it. Amazon you know, I have problems with Jeff Bezos and his business model and labor exploitation and that kind of stuff. But the simple fact is that actual service is what turned things around and made it possible for self-published writers to, you know, make money and to actually be profitable, extremely profitable in a lot of cases. That's where that 20 books to 50K group comes in, because they mostly are pretty much all published through Amazon. And they talk about, you know, successful strategies, writing to market, writing series, things like that. And it's just been a godsend to people who have been cast aside by the traditional publishing industry, or write things in genres that are not typically published by the mainstream publishing industry, but still sell like hell. So I'm just saying that, you know, things have more, you know, more power to it. You know what it is? I think it's the AC/DC T-shirt that has gotten me going crazy here. The Highway to Hell album cover for AC/DC. It's a classic, you know, the Bon Scott era, and you know that just got my juices flowing. I was like, you know, it's time to go on a rant, go on a spiel here, and hopefully at least make a few people laugh, if nothing else. It's like improv comedy with a message, okay? Yeah, just.
Of that whole rant, I just couldn't stop thinking about Alan Moore, the guy whose stories have been ripped off horribly into movies that could have been so much more better. Like V for Vendetta, I hurt real deep on the inside. Real deep.
And
that could have been a few movies, and
for what it's worth, V for Vendetta was actually one of the better adaptations of an Alan Moore graphic novel. For what it's worth, just in terms of relative to the others, anyway. I think that the Watchmen has its fans, but it's sort of like a case where it was really sounding the notes but not making the music, as it were. You know, it was just Zack Snyder kind of missed the point, I think. But yeah. Plus, Alan Moore got screwed over by the big publishing houses, you know, DC in particular, for so long that, you know, no wonder he's bitter and jaded. He's like, ow. Oh, no, Dr. Evil again. Yeah. Well.
$1 billion.
Yes. I see you, Dr. Evil, and I raise you. I'm bringing it out again. Huggy.
Hey, Dad.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll get a little punchy.
I see your face hugger, and I raise you my. Hold on. This was a college project. This is my. I sewed her all by hand. Super proud.
Nice.
Very nice.
This is.
Nice.
Gosh, what was her backstory? Oh yeah, I introduced it to my professor and everything. She's an ex-porn star going superhero. That's her story. Her power comes from these. And she's fully functional.
No, you don't say.
I don't think you could top that.
That is darling.
I wouldn't even think, you know, anything else. I mean, I might bring something else out, but nobody's going to top that. They're just not.
And so, back to what we were talking about. So that's been kind of my thing, you know. I wanted to publish it the way I wanted it. So, like, one of the things that I did that everybody's like, well, why are you doing that? So I commissioned 10 pieces of art. I've commissioned 10 pieces of art, you know, from all you fantabulous artists. You know, we've got Eve's piece, we've got Ed's piece, Wendy's, and CB's is coming. You know, everybody's like, why are you doing 10 pieces of art? And I'm like, you know, I love reading books, and I like, you know, because you form your own idea of what the characters look like, but I like seeing other people's interpretations of the characters. And so when I commissioned the pieces, I said, look, this is the basis of my character. This is the color scheme. This is the idea behind it. This is what the suit is. This is what the weapons are. But I want your interpretation on it. And so each piece has been different because, you know, like Ed's piece was more like the hex plating, it was my idea, but you know, that was kind of our general basis. We were collaborating on what the main piece of the character is from my viewpoint, because I can't draw. And then, you know, like Wendy's had like the light armor, and she had it in more of like a mobile, you know, standpoint. Eve's is going to be a beast piece with a character that will be revealed eventually. And then you've got, you know, Chris McJunkin's piece, who he's got the big, fully armored badass coming in, looks like he's getting ready to tear stuff up. Awesome piece. And then you got David Fott. He's got the kind of samurai suit look to it. And each piece is got its own, you know, story behind it. And I love that. And so I thought it would be cool for each piece to have a chapter that it was included in. And, you know, for you to read through that chapter and see a scene out of the book, or see somebody else's portray the actual character. And so it's like, if I would have taken it somewhere else, then I'd be like, oh, that's a stupid idea. And it's like, I don't care if it's stupid to you. It's what I want to do. It's my book. I don't give a shit. You know, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And if I commission 40 pieces of art that's spread out through it, that's my choice.
So, in other words,
Russell,
are these going to be full-page pictures or spot illustrations or what for the book?
So we're talking probably end of chapter. So you'll read the chapter, and then at the end of the chapter, there'll be a piece. It won't be actually in the chapter or throughout the story. It'll be like you'll read the story, and then now this piece of art makes sense. Because everybody's seen most of the pieces of art. And then, of course, I'm going to do like a art book for the Kickstarter. So everybody's going to see the pieces of art, and they're going to see, you know, the beats. They're going to see David Fott, where the one leg is different. They're going to see CB's piece, which is going to be a super, super emotional, like, if you don't cry, there's something wrong with you point in the book. And, you know, CB only knows his part of the story. And, you know, Wendy knows the beginning of the story, and, you know, Wendy doesn't know what happens at the end, and CB doesn't know what happens at the beginning. They're just basing their ideas off of what's going to happen at the point of time of their piece. And then at the end, once it all comes together, everybody's going to be like, every piece of the art in this book signified something that was going to happen, and now it makes sense. And
I think what makes it good and consistent is your open line of communication between each artist that you chose to commission. Because a lot of creators, especially the ones who go the route of making novels, and they're looking for somebody or people to fill in the pages with art or put art on the cover, don't seem to understand the importance of letting the person that you want to have a piece of art from know the story and know your characters and be able to fully communicate them through a piece of art. And that's the one thing I've learned while I've been working and communicating with others, is that for me to create a picture of a character that you have in your mind, you need to tell me the whole thing of the whole spiel of the book, the whole spiel of the character, as if it's the first time you're explaining it to somebody, and like equally as passionate, so that we can be able to portray what you're thinking in your mind. And you've been very open about that communication and giving us details, probably more details than sometimes you did not want to give, but it helps a lot in making sure that we're able to be consistent with how Xenonanite is portrayed. And then we have free reign between everything else that's going on in the environment and how he's interacting in the picture.
Well, and here's the thing. So that's what's nice about the indie community. So let me just say this. If it was a publisher or just somebody that I knew, I wouldn't just be like, oh, here, read this, and here you have access to this, because there's a lot of people out there that'll try to rip you off. But that's not what Team Titan's about. Everybody that's a part of my circle is somebody that I know that is an honest person and that would never do something like that to me. And that's the kind of people that I want to surround myself with. And that's why the indie community is so great, because we can share these ideas and know that I'm not going to step on your toes. You're not going to step on my toes, because we're in this together. I'm writing a book. You know, you guys are helping me by, you know, putting pieces of art into this book. But at the same time, I'm helping you guys by putting your art in a medium that normally isn't seen with your art on it. I mean, you don't see a lot of people with books go out and say, hey, I want 10 pieces of art put in my book, because it's expensive. But I wanted to, just because I'm from both worlds, the comic book world and the book world. I read both. I enjoy both. And so this is kind of like me taking my story and merging the two worlds together and starting out the origin story as a novel with the intent of down the road actually turning this into a comic book series. Because book 1's going to leave off with a big cliffhanger. Book 2 is going to roll in hot and heavy with a new, let's just say superpower. It's not really that, but that's the only way I can say it without giving away too much information. There's going to be a big, big, big thing that happens in book 2. And then book 3 is going to leave it off to where it could go anywhere. You know, if somebody doesn't pick it up, I may continue the book series. But if somebody says, hey, you know, let's write a storyboard for this, let's put some art to it and make a comic book series, I'm open. You know, and I haven't been, you know, shy in putting it out there that, hey, this is my intentions, because somewhere somebody's going to hear it and they're going to say, well, I'll buy a copy of the book and read it when it comes out. And that person may reach out to me afterwards. I mean, that's my hopes, but you know, either way, I'm rolling with the story. Whether we do it in a novel, whether we do it in a comic book, you know, Xenonanite Titan story needs to be heard, and he's going to be heard with all of his glory. And like I said, you know, book 1 may not be the best book that's ever written. The story is going to be good, but my writing style may not be fully what it's going to be by book 3. And by surrounding myself with indie creators, people that are going to give me that constructive criticism that I need to hear, that are going to lift me up and say, this is really good, but, you know, let's try to develop a little bit more character background, or let's try to, you know, what about a little bit more about this, you know, work on this. And then I can say, okay, well, you know, because people don't understand, it's not really that I don't have a good story to tell or that I'm not a good writer. It's the story's in my head. And whether you're writing a comic book or you're writing a book, it's hard to write what comes from your head onto paper that other people are going to read. And, you know, I have to give you the detail to see what I see in my head, or you just don't get it. And
yeah,
something
that's
that's
stick
really
figures.
hard is, yeah, with stick figures.
You know, talking about stick figures.
That's a funny story.
At New Orleans Comic Con back in 2000, it was massive. I forget the exact name. But I was at the tables with all my artist friends, and the problem was everybody coming up to them and saying, I want a commission of this kind of character or that character. And then, you know, they're just working away. They're just scribbling away. And so I got out a piece of cardboard, then it happened, said stick figures, $1 each. I ripped that idea off of Peter David, by the way. And I sold about $10 worth of stick figures that day. I even visualized this guy's super team book. I drew colored spiky epaulets on the character that was based on a crawfish. And I'm telling you, it worked out. So don't put down the stick figures too quickly, man. There's a market for stick figures. I'm just telling you.
Well, here's the story behind that. So the stick figure story is this is a stick figure commission. I sent him the idea for this as stick figures.
Oh.
So you've got Vampirella,
yes,
in monster form, fighting Dracula in monster form, ripping out his heart as the sun comes up through the mountains. I don't have it loaded up on my computer. I'll post it again on Facebook later. But I sent him a stick figure drawing, and this was the commission that I got back, which is exactly in proportion to how my stick figure drawing looked out.
Nice.
So, I mean, even So, I mean, even if you have to do stick figures to get an idea across, using your words to describe what you want, and that's my ability of what I have. I have the words to describe what I want, and like I think I did a decent job in describing CB what I wanted from him, and I think to Eve and to Ed and to Wendy, and I can't wait to see Eve and CB's piece. I can't wait. It's going to be phenomenal, and I'm going to be super excited to see where you go with the character.
Yes.
And there shouldn't be edits.
Cool.
Right.
Nope. I don't think anybody ever had edits from me.
No edits.
Well, I honestly don't think I've told any of you guys edits. The only one that I think I gave edits to was Ed, but that was because Ed was looking for some creative insight into where I wanted to go with the character, and it wasn't like, oh, I don't like this. It was, I like this. Let's improve upon it.
Yep.
I don't ever say I don't like this. I mean, like that's like what David fought with the leg. He put the robot leg in, and I said, I really like the robot leg. That's an awesome idea, but can we improve upon it to fit it into the story? And he's like, sure, what do you want to do? And I was like, let's do this. And so now that piece is forever burned into a chapter because it signifies a part of the story that's crucial to what happens to it. And I don't think there ever should be edits. And that was the kind of the joke with Steph the other day, because, Steph's like, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, well, it's all right. And I don't think I loaded it in here, but, Steph originally drew a piece on a white piece of paper because he thought it's what I wanted. And I was like, no, I want you to draw in your style what you envision. And I really love what he did with it, because Steph's is totally different from everybody else's. Everybody else's has their own difference, but his is different in a unique way, that his suit is actually not attached to Raziel. So the suit is actually floating off of the surface, and it has gaps in between it to where it's like a fluid floating suit. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome, and that's what's so cool about saying do it how you want to do it. I don't care, as long as it fits the description of what I give. I'm going to be happy with it. And he totally delivered on it. And I know all of you will, because you guys are awesome. And
I virtually slap my face a few times, like, Eve, relax, chill. It's good. It's fine.
So Eve,
Russell, you're gonna have to show me some of these later.
They're all on Facebook. I don't have Eve's, and I don't have CB's. CB's just getting started on it. Eve's been working on it for a little bit. So Eve started doing a drawing on Father's Day, and I was totally in love with the layout. Well, we hadn't talked for like a week and a half, and then Eve starts sending me these pictures, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And she's like, well, I've been thinking about some new ways. And I'm like, all right, whoa. I'm like,
whoa.
Right.
What the hell is this?
I took a screenshot. I took a screenshot of the video she did on Father's Day, and I sent it to her. And I was like, you see this? You're never going to change my mind that anything's going to be better than this. And then I sent her the GIF with the guy sitting at the table that has the sign that says change my mind. And I was like, just you're overthinking this. Don't overthink it. This piece is awesome. It's badass. It's more than what I could have visualized in my head. And you're going off on a tangent here, and I really don't like these because I'm stuck on this. Let's do this, and let's expand upon it. Because I know you're going to do a phenomenal job with it, Eve. So keep working on it.
Sweet.
I need water. Yeah, I got you.
So did you guys get a chance to talk about all your Kickstarters? I wasn't here for like an hour, so I didn't. Did you guys get a chance to talk about Naughty Faeries and Lili the Demoness and all that good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. I'm really sorry.
No, it's all good, man. It's all
you
good.
Really don't mean it. You don't mean it.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties happen. They just do. It's the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to hear Lewis, so I know the voice behind the typing. I'm glad I got to meet Ed and Eve, because I've seen your work and I've seen your names, and really cool to be part of this with you too. Keep up the great work. Mike and Wendy, I know we'll talk, and Russ, of course we will. So I'm just happy to be part of this. Thank you.
Absolutely. I was most pleased to be a part of it. Most appreciated.
Team Titan.
Yeah, thank you guys all for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Team Titan, that's right.
Yep. Keep up the great work, people. I'm gonna bid adieu.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm sure
All right. Take care.
I'll bug each and every one of y'all later.
Cool.
Jeez.
Bug away, man.
All right.
Bye.
Well, have a good night, everybody.
It was nice meeting Ed and Eve. I hadn't had a chance to. Lewis,
I know, right?
And
I see your names floating around. I'm like,
So I will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Good to meet everybody. See you later.
Yep.
All righty, Ed.
See
You have
ya.
a good one.
Michael, thanks for being here.
You too. See ya.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity, Russ.
Yeah, Russ.
Yeah,
Thanks.
anytime, Mike. You're welcome, Lewis. Thank
All
you
right.
for being here. Again, I apologize for the difficulties.
No, nothing
No
to apologize
problem.
for. I mean,
It's always fun.
all right. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Yep. See you, Mike.
Yeah, y'all
You
too.
too.
And as the youngest of the group, I've got a bedtime, of course. I will
You got a
pop-
bedtime?
No, I
Nonsense,
don't.
poopy pants.
I don't. I just want to make a joke of myself because I'm a baby compared to everybody.
Yeah, no, you're good. Well, don't forget that Unscripted is on, so when you get off of here, don't forget to go on and give Phil some crap.
If you will have me on, I'll give crap and then disappear.
Well, that's where I'm about to head because he started about a half an hour ago. So, Ed, did you get a chance to talk about yourself again? I apologize, man.
Yeah, we're good.
Today has
Everything's
been
good.
absolute nightmare. So, if anybody doesn't know, a lot of people probably knew CB. A lot of people know Wendy and Michael Shoemaker. But, these two here are kind of new to the scene, and they're both phenomenal artists. You can find Ed at Ed's Artworks. You can find Eve at Ivanette Rivas-Fournier. And did I pronounce that correct?
Evanette.
Is
That's
it
why I go by
Evanette?
Eve. I have to complicate everybody's life in trying to find me, because I have the typical Spanish 9 sentences long royalties kind of name.
Yeah.
So I also have to make it hard for everybody.
Well, you need to come up with something catchy like Evie Wonder or something like that.
I did have something that was catchy, and it only lasted until senior year of high school because I was like, do I want to forever be known as Eve the Bee? Or do I want to be known professionally and communicate with people? And if I ever were to shake Todd McFarlane's hand, do I want him to say Ivanette or do I want him to say Eve the Bee? That's what I had to think. So I said, let's go with the full name for now. But there's a story to Eve the Bee.
Don't talk about bees on my show after the wasp attack this week. I don't even want to hear it.
Long story short, my face is on a bee plushie, and my face looks very sad. And that bee plushie was with me all throughout marching band, and it's a good story. Also, I know 30 minutes of the bee movie script. That's an unusual talent of mine. So there's that too. Unironically, I love the movie. So yeah, it had substance for a while, and I'm like, it ain't gonna stick.
All right, well, let's call this the night. Like I said again, Eve.
And everybody go
Evanette.
bother Phil.
Yeah, well, so we can go by the
Evanette,
Phil. Yeah,
yes.
I ran over. I was supposed to tip the hat to his show at 10 o'clock, but I wasn't here, so I guess I can't get in trouble for not tipping the hat if I wasn't here. It wasn't my fault. So definitely check out Evanette's work, and definitely message this guy over here, aka Never Gonna Draw Live. It's happening. We're gonna get a white van, Steph and I are going to get a white van. We're going to show up. We're going to tie you up with masking tape or duct tape or whatever we can find, and we're going to drag you to a studio and tape you to the chair, like one of those old, ransom videos where they got you rope tied to a chair, and we're going to put a pen in your hand and put a camera on. You better go live.
Jeez, that just sounds like what Adam Hughes' wife does to him.
Yeah.
Have you seen him go live? He's like, I don't normally do this, but yeah.
Yep. Well,
it would happen.
Good night. It was good seeing you again. Thanks for being on the show. We will be going live in a few weeks on the 4th, I believe, right?
Yes.
So I got to get this computer figured out and fixed before then. So have a great night.
Just throw the whole thing away.
What?
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Good night.
All right, bye. Peace. All right, Ed. Well, have a good night, bud. Thanks for being on. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you guys rolling on without me. After I got flagged today for that video that I made for copyright for nothing that was even copyrighted, it just kind of melted my day down, and everything's not working right. My phone's not working right. This isn't working right. So I got to do some serious technical debugging tomorrow. I'm not dealing with it tonight.
Cool. I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Sorry to keep you up so late. Thanks for being on here and keep up the good work. I look forward to let me know, man. We need to get this lined out and get you on live soon.
I will.
All right, bud. Have a good night.
Yep, have a good night.
All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around for the show. I really appreciate it. I know tonight wasn't the best night. We've had technical difficulties before, but I don't know what's going on. My camera, my mic on my computer's not working. My sound keeps going out on my phone. Luckily, I managed to pull it together there at the end for a little while, but the sound was starting to bug out. So definitely keeping it indie. That's what IndeEvent was all about. This whole IndeEvent was about getting together as a group and saying, we're not going to put up with the big two. We're not going to put up with, publishers trying to push us around. I mean, these are our creative works. These are our characters, and we should have creative control over anything. Whether we want a character to die, whether we want a character to move on, what their powers are, what their story is, what we do with it. And that's what being indie is all about. And we couldn't do it without all of you, the fans, the people that are there screaming from the mountaintop saying, I want more. And that's what we need to keep going. Part of IndeEvent was getting together and, kind of saying, these online cons that have gone bad, it's not our fault. There are bad creators out there that, are looking to hurt other people. I'm not going to call anybody out because it's not my place, but those people will weed themselves out over time. But, I just want to personally thank each and every one of you who have stood behind me since day one. I never thought I'd be at this point, 2-3 years ago, when I got back into the comic industry and I started talking to people and going to cons and collecting again. I never thought in 3 years I would be almost done with my project. And it kind of brings a tear to my eye. I'm not going to lie, sitting here, watching the videos on Facebook that I upload, when the art comes in from the artists and I unveil it to you guys and you guys think it's awesome. I mean, I fangirl myself because it's like, there's nothing like seeing what you've created, somebody else do something with that just blows your mind. And that's what being indie is all about. So, keep it indie, keep supporting all the indie developers and the creators and help us keep putting good work into your laps. Let's not give the big publishers control over the story, and it's like, Robert mentioned earlier, we have, it's kind of like the music industry. You have so many artists out there that have a great sound, and then they get a music label that says, no, we don't like this. This is what we want you to sound like. And, I'm not having that. So you guys have a great night. Again, thank you for sticking around. I'm going to try to get everything fixed before Tuesday. Tuesday, I have another show at 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern with Jason Sue. And we're going to talk about, he's got a Kickstarter that started a few days ago, and Necroman a little bit, which is a series that I have been reading for the last couple of years and following. They just had their latest one here a few months ago. So it'll be definitely fun to have him on the show. And thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great night.